Hey everyone, back here at the workshop, and with it being December now, it is getting really cold in here, and yeah, so I had to get my jacket on. But for today, I'm going to try something else, and because it is the holidays, we are going to make a little miniature Christmas tree. And with this, I recently bought this blank, which is made out of plywood. And this has a color scheme which they call Green Mountain Camo. I figured that was close enough to Christmas color, so I had to try out. So this should be a pretty straightforward project, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with this. And so to start off, as I always do, we gotta find the center of the blank. So I'm gonna point down to the workbench. Try to adjust it so I can see what you're seeing. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in to our blank. So we're going to use our center finder. I'm going to get my pencil, which is attached to my compass, but not that it matters. So we're going to mark off each side as we normally do. And as always, I do it from each one of the corners, so I make sure that I am accurate in finding them. So, and I do the same thing for the other side. And while I'm doing this, of course, this is too small to be put on a faceplate, or my chuck for that matter, my jaw chuck. So for this, we are going to be using our spur center, which I have not shown you before, to hold this piece into place. So I'm going to go get the spur center, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So our spur center is like this. We have our center here, a really pointy bit, and then we have a couple of jaws, if you want to call them that, or little teeth. That's more the right word for it. We got these 4 teeth which will hold onto it. So we're going to use the center of our spur center to line it up with dead center, and then we're going to use a mallet. This is one that I made, and we're going to hit it to make that mark on the center. And one thing I do want to say is that when you're hammering these pieces, always use a wood mallet, not metal on metal, because you risk damaging the bit. So all the force goes into the wood. Okay, so it's hammered into place, and we're ready to take it over to the lathe. Okay, so as we said, we're going to put our spur center right here. This is a number 2 thread. I'm going to move my tool rest over here so we have room to put the tailstock over. Alright, and same thing with the other one. We got to look for dead center on the other side just to make sure that everything's in place. I'm going to lock the tailstock in, and just try to make little small adjustments just to make sure we got it. All right, so now our piece is in place, and I may have to make small adjustments onto this as we go along. All right, now I got to get my respirator and face shield. And of course, as I always do before each new project, we are going to put it on the slow setting and test it before we do anything. So we're going to stand back for a moment, and I forgot I put the spindle lock in place. All right, let's see if we got it moving. Okay. All right, so we do have it on, and we're going to turn it up. We're just making sure that it is secure. Okay, that was at 690. So we're gonna. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna tighten it just a little more, just for extra safety. All right, and we're gonna treat this like a spindle, since this is not doing any face work. For our roughing, instead of doing the square cutter, I'm instead doing the round cutter for this one. And mainly because I feel I can get an easier cut out of it, so I'm gonna turn, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm near center. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to switch it to the medium gear. And I'll move you around so you can get a better look from my perspective. But first we're going to put this to gear number 2. Yeah, because it is a narrower diameter, this can handle higher speeds. So I'm going to turn the variable speed all the way back down again. All right, I'll start it off at 700 RPM. All right, I'm going to put my respirator on, and we'll start rounding the blank. Yeah, you see why I was trying to get it as tight as possible, because then that happens. So I'm going to tighten this up more so that the spur center can get a better grip of it. And I can already see that some of the plywood's coming off. as you can see, the edges are starting to get rounded. Now, one thing, you saw me just a moment ago riding my tool on top of the workpiece. That's just a quicker way of trying to figure out if your piece is round or not. So just to make things easier, just rub your tool on top of it, and if it bounces around, then that tells you that it's not round yet. You still have some flat spots, and you guys still got to work on it. But if it rides smooth, then you got yourself a good round workpiece. And like I said, the piece was catching on my tool a little bit, so what I'm doing is that I'm turning my tool to an angle just a little bit. I'm also turning up the speed. I'll try to give it a little more power into those cuts. So we still got a little bit of work to do, so let's continue. Yeah, not quite there yet. It's just an old piece of a receipt on there. Alright, we're almost there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my square cutter to flatten out, round out those flat spots.
what we got. Not quite, just a little more on the left. Okay. Alright, I believe we got it.
Okay, so now we can go to shaping our tree, and for this one I'm going to go to the diamond tool. So we're gonna cut out the little branches, and what we're aiming for is to try to go for a little point at the top. We're gonna leave the back end open for now, just so it can hold on to our tree.
And this would also be a good time to up the speed. Go to over 1,500. I'm actually going to just mark off where the bottom's going to be. so
Well, the tree is coming along. It's a little more psychedelic than I thought it was going to be, but we'll take care of that later. But this is where we're at right now, and yeah, it's going to need some smoothing out, but we're getting near the finish line as far as shaping. I still need to do the little tree branch on the bottom. So let's go and finish this one up.
Alright,
Now this is going to be a pretty difficult part. Now because that it is being held by these two centers, I can't go too much further before it comes off and it will no longer be able to hold both ends. So we're going to wait on that end. We're going to start shaping the back end.
and this time I'm going to go to the square cut.
Okay, that should be a good enough width for the stem of the tree. All right, so yeah, I know the edges are not the best, so we're going to try to clean those up before we do any finishing. Okay, we're almost finished. So what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna finish shaping that tip there, but I'm going to have to put this at a slower speed because once I cut that off, it's gonna come off the lathe. Now, as for the bottom there, we're just going to use a handsaw to get it off.
That kind of did it for me. So yeah, we're going to do some reshape, some sanding on the top of the tree. Just try to give it more of a point. So let me zoom out. So this is what we have right now. And of course, like I said,
We got to cut the bottom end. Like I said, we're going to use a handsaw to do that. All right, so we're going to go to the work table and finish this off. Okay, we're back at the workbench. I took the tree off of the little stem, and now we have to sharpen the top of the point. So it certainly is not going to fit my Longworth chuck. It's definitely not going to fit my 4-jaw chuck. So we're just going to have to sand it manually with some good old sandpaper. I got 120 grit, and we're just going to pinch around it. And so we're going to give it a few rotations on the top. So all we're really doing is sharpening that top point there. So again, we just need to just pinch that top. Just try to make it better. Okay, now I'm going to go get some 180 grit to try to smooth that out. And again, for this project, you really don't need much on it, just enough to give it that final shaping. All right, here's 180. So again, we're going to pinch around it, and kind of like what you would with a pool cue when you're putting chalk on it. Kind of give it a few swipes on the top there. All right, and now we'll go to, this is 320 grit. And again, just to smooth that out one more time. And like I say, you could sand the rest of it, but with how the angles are and how you got those crevices, I just do a shear cut with my diamond cutter, just to smooth it out for me, so that I don't really have to do all that much sanding. It's not really going to be much anyway. So there's one more thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to put it in walnut oil. So I got to get a clean cloth. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my clean cloth. We got our workpiece. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to use Mahoney's finishes. This is walnut oil. Now this is a penetrating finish instead of what we've done before, a film finish. Penetrating finishes go into the wood fibers, and it solidifies there. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take some of my walnut oil, put it on my clean cloth, and then we're going to rub all around the workpiece. I'm going to cover the base as well. Just enough so that it is soaked. Yeah, make sure that it covers the whole thing. Make sure nothing's left behind. And by the way, walnut oil is a food safe finish. And yes, because it is walnut oil, it is safe to use without gloves. Okay, and the thing says that check this every 15 minutes over the course of an hour, and if you see any dry spots, go back and fill those in. All right, so I'll keep checking in with this, but this is looking good. And then after we're sure that the walnut oil is soaked in, we'll do the final finish.